one in quite some time. So thought I would do one if you guys want to walk around of the shed. If there's anyone that comes here, I have a few things that I can show off. Okay. Okay, hello Koala Man. Hey guys, how are we? I thought I would do a live on YouTube. I haven't really done one in a long time. We are in the shed. Hello guys, how are you? If you guys have any questions, otherwise I've got some topics that I'd like to talk about, but we might even try and put the side skirt on the red ute. Good, Matt, how are you, mate? So, one of the things that I've been doing, I'll just talk about this while I wait for a couple of people to join, but one of the things I've been doing is trying my best to learn how to paint something properly. You know, I've always done some quick, cheap, pretty average rattle cans, but I've really tried with this one, and as you can see, I've not done a very good job. You can kind of see some sanding marks in that. So I filmed that whole process. I should have the video of the red ute done very soon. I've really tried to switch from making so many videos every day to trying to make one long, not like a build series kind of thing, but sort of. So I think the video on the ute is like 40 minutes long or something. Thank you very much. Yes, I have clear coated it. So prime it and coat it, and I sanded it with 1500 wet. We won't be doing that. It did used to be purple. It was almost sad because it was a Cosmo purple one. It was in literally brand new condition. It had been sitting inside someone's shed for 20 years, just about. It's never been on a car. So, actually, sorry, I could be wrong there. It might have been on a car, but it's, yeah, not for a long time. But, yeah, I thought I would do that and bring you guys along for that. I'm really changing sort of how I'm doing it so that when I have like my red ute video, which will be soon, the red ute is just here, then it's like one episode kind of, and then that car, not that it's done, but like there's a lot happening in that car in the video, and I sort of cut out a lot of the boring stuff, so it's all action, if that makes sense. So, because that's what I would want to watch. So, been doing that. We deleted, hey, JME, get crunk. So we've been doing that. We have been doing, oh, awesome. That's awesome, Steve. That's great, mate. Thank you for helping the channel. I'll probably make those stickers available very soon, I think. It's like normally not, and obviously they'll be a bit cheaper because the VT isn't involved. But I'm excited. I might just put that. Sorry guys. Yeah, we'll have the red ute video. I'm hoping that'll be soon. All that's got to be done is a tail shaft, and I've got to paint. Oh, sorry, I've got to properly do this. It's kind of dull. You can kind of see it just there. So needs another clear going over, I think, and then a buff. But it's good doing all this stuff because I'm learning so much, and it's really different than the reviews. And I know that, yeah, I don't blame you, Steve. Unfortunately, I have no control over it. I mean, I could turn it. Actually, I don't think that it's on this. I'm not sure. Hopefully it's something interesting. But I hate ads too, especially when you're paying for stuff. My favorite Commodore, look, it would have to be VN, I think. every time I try to steer away from that answer, I don't think it's genuine. I think the VN is my favourite, and I'm lucky enough I've got 2 of them, and you know they're pretty good ones, and it's hard to get good ones because they're just, I mean they're still out there, but they're just getting so old, and even good ones are starting to die. How many cars have I owned? I don't know. It's not as many as some. It'd be in the low 30s. But I probably have half of the cars that I've ever owned right now. That is probably the one thing that I do differently from other people is that I don't really, it's very rare that I get rid of them. So while my ownership number is a lot lower than some other people, are they V6 or V8? Hi Daniel, how are you, mate? That's cool, mate. Sorry, I've just missed that chat. Where is that? All chat. Are they V6 or V8? So that one's a V8 LS1. Sorry guys, that's a V6. That's a V6. That's a V8. And they're all 6s at the front. One of them's a Super 6. And this is a 6, a manual 6. And then those 2 are 6s. But I also have, so there's not many V8s here, but I've also got a V8 one tonner at my house. And my VN 5 litre. Mate, I was over here in New Zealand. Interesting. That's really interesting. Again, look, I'm no economist, but I think New Zealand is maybe in a bit of free fall economically, and maybe that's why. Tiger Micah vid on the VT, yes, absolutely. I just wanted to knock over the red ute first before we get any more, but I mean, look, I've teased it a little bit. I've probably teased it too much, but I'm not good at keeping secrets. But that car's pretty cool, but there are some serious things wrong with it. Not too bad, but the motor's probably got to come out, so that's just another project. Do you know what though? The thing is, and it is a little bit embarrassing, is I'm very lucky I've got quite a lot of cars, but when it come to All Holden Day the other day, I didn't have one car, mostly because of batteries, but I didn't have one car to go in, and I ended up going in someone else's, which is really embarrassing because, well, that's sort of what I do. You know, I don't really do big custom builds and stuff, and I am not rich at all. I'm just trying my best. But yeah, so lots of learn. Like, there's so many things to learn when you're doing this stuff. I eventually would like to paint a car. I'm probably a fair bit away off that. I'm trying on this. Hit up supercharge, why not? Sorry, mate, I'm not too sure what you mean. Hit up. 6.4 semi. That would be cool. I don't know what I want to do with the Valiant. Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right. That's a good idea. I'd almost need like a subscription model. I don't mind that idea for the Valiant, but I think while that would be great, the Valiant, the one behind me, it's so original, other than the motor's really the only thing that's not. It's got a slant, it's an original slant 6 car, but it's got a different slant 6. Want to supercharge your VT? Look, I recommend it. I really like the L67, and it's cheap, and they actually go pretty good. The only thing is Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just bolting on a supercharger. I think you got to swap. I mean, look, you can top swap it, but they've got different heads. So you've got to do that. You've got to do, it's just as easy to swap the motor. It's not that hard, really. That's the easy part of it. Sorry, guys. I've been awake for a very long time. I don't know if you guys saw, I did my first ever podcast with Andy from Auto Trade Agents, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed my time with that, and I'm going to do it again every Wednesday, hopefully. We film it Wednesday, and it's posted the next day. So that's the goal. So I'll make a few videos before it next time. Oh, awesome, mate. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was far from perfect. I hope you enjoyed it, but it was our first time. Obviously, we know each other pretty well, but that's all right, mate. Look, when I did my L67 swap, I didn't, and I still don't. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. I mean, look, you have some idea, of course, but sorry, guys. Yes, those little O-rings. That's exactly what has let go in mine. But, that is... Look, a lot of people ask about the WA auction, and I get it. Unfortunately for me, that chapter is still open. It is not closed. As much as I would like for that to be over, it's not. It's an ongoing thing, which is just... I'm just... Oh, the auction... I mean, I can tell you a few things, I'm sure, but it was... I mean, for example, I'll talk about it for a little bit. I can't say everything, but when I first went there, I went to visit Perth twice. And unfortunately, the first time I went there, when I went and saw the cars, there were a lot more cars than ended up. Yeah, you're right. Everyone does love it. But I just, there were a few negative things about it. But when I first went there to sort of check it out, there were heaps of HSVs. Sorry, not HSVs. There was a VC Brock, a VL Calais Turbo, a VL Walkie, a Group... the VN Group A, which was there. And there was a handful of other things. Yes, you will need to do that, mate. But there were a handful of other cars, probably worth close to $1 million just in those, probably more, that I found out when I went back for the second time that were not included in the auction. And then right at the last minute, the owner said he wanted to pull that bloody motorbike, and we just had a massive falling out, me and the owner. And I was so pissed off because my face was on it. And it was just... It was really hard, and understandably, a lot of people were upset and annoyed at me about it, and that was really tough. And I get it too, like I understand, but he was just, the farm owner as well was really alcohol and drug affected, and which I didn't realise at the first time, and that made it really tough. That made it really tough to communicate with someone. Usually I had to talk with him at 6 to 7 in the morning, because after that he was too intoxicated, inebriated to make any decisions. And when there's hundreds of thousands of dollars and all these people on the line, like it was really, really tough to get that to work. Plus I didn't have any internet connection. That was crap as well, so that wasn't really his fault, but I couldn't really reply to people or go live or do other things. And, anyone that's watched the channel knows that I'm a bit more of marketer, sort of internet personality, sort of that kind of thing, than necessarily a mechanic. You know, I don't mind doing stuff, but I went over there. I thought I would be marketing kind of thing, and it didn't end up turning out like that. He wanted me to race around and swap headlights and you know, swap door rubbers and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I can do that, but I'm not efficient at it. You know, it's just a waste of time. But anyway, that's just scratching the surface, guys. I'm sure it'll all come out eventually. But, yeah, I definitely didn't. And on top of all that, I didn't even make any money out of it. That's the worst part. So, yeah, I really got... Yeah, that was tough. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Hopefully. Yeah, it is tough. On a Series 1 VN V6, do you need to lift the engine to change the sump gasket? I think so, mate, yeah. Or you could probably drop the K-frame and have the motor suspended from the top. What's on the FG? FG Turbo compared to the FG XR8. That is a great question. Out of those two, I'm very lucky I've driven quite a bit of both. It really depends on what you like. I think the XR6 Turbo is probably better for 90% of people because it's better on fuel. It's... Hi, mate, how are you? It's better on fuel. It is... We're talking about the FG XR6 Turbo versus the XR8. They go extremely hard. They're very modifiable. They're really reliable. The XR8s are great too. I actually really liked driving it. It was great fun. It went a lot harder than I expected it to go. It was ripper, if I'm honest. It was great. Great fun. But yeah, I'd probably choose the XR6 Turbo. The CSV... I went to All Holden Day the other day and there was one there. I'd never seen one in person and it was really interesting because the bloke that owned it was the original owner. And he had it since brand new. And it was custom to him. And that one was really cool because CSV, if you guys aren't familiar with CSV, it's like, I don't know the full story, but it is like an off-brand, not an off-brand, it's like a different market of HSV that was made in Mildura, I think, or Ballarat. I can't remember, but anyway, I don't know enough about it. But basically, it's like a VS 5 litre that has had all this stuff done to it. It's got its own unique body kit and stuff. And they made it made stupid kilowatts. It was like 280 kilowatts or something, which is a lot for back then. And the one that was at All Holden Day was the only 5.7 litre one they made, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. Lots of New Zealand people. Would I review a GR Yaris? Absolutely. I'm very lucky. I've got an in with Toyota, and I really, I like Toyota products. Anyone that has followed along with the channel, I've had a few of them myself. And I like Toyotas because a lot of their ethos is about building stuff that lasts. What was that comment? Sorry, guys. My finger. Mildura, that's right. Yeah, exactly. True twin exhaust. That's interesting. So on the VS, they weren't true twin. They went to the end, and then there was another an intersection, and then it went to the other side of the bar and out. At least there was on the one that was at All Holden Day. But they are definitely a rare thing. They did Utes as well, which is pretty cool. They're just weird. But no, I think they're cool. They're cool in their own way. They kind of look like an S13 kind of thing at the front. And what else was there? Oh, sorry, guys. All chat. What is my favourite all-time Commodore and HSV? Look, I did say before, it'd have to be the VN, I think is my favourite. That is like the one that speaks to me the most. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's probably my favourite. Did the VS have powder dyeing? I'm not sure, mate. That's a good question. No, I think automatic Commodores or Holdens in general, but specifically Commodores are much more common. But they're definitely more common in manual than Falcons. I don't know why that is. There's a few manual Commodores in here, and I really like them. I haven't, Mr. Sam Crow. No, I have got one lined up. Thank you, warm glass of battery acid. I have driven one. Sorry, I haven't driven one, but I've got lined one up. I've got one lined up, but I just haven't done them. I just had a. They do froth the ZF. I've got one in my FG. It's awesome. There's literally not an issue with it. It makes the right calls at the right times. It's a great thing. All chat. Gen F GDS, very cool. HSV variant, my favourite HSV. I do really like VYVZ. VYVZ Clubbies and Maloos. They're really cool. I haven't driven a Callaway, but I've seen one. Unfortunately, if you guys don't know, they had this Callaway in the VX GDS. I think they've made 300 of them or something, the C4B cars. But anyway, they're ridiculous power. The only Commodore they ever made, or HSV ever made, that had a factory shift light, which is pretty cool. But I've never driven one. The only downside to those kind of cars is they almost all have crazy low kilometres and are like permanently parked up. Hello, Beaming Brother. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Red and 666. Wow, that is really cool. It is. Thank you, Shane. That's very cool, mate. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Yeah, absolutely. It is a shame that the VF, they quit when they were at their best. My favourite hold, look, it's got to be the VN 5 liter. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's probably, it's my favourite. I just like how, mine specifically is just, it's just rough as guts, and like the body, sorry, when I say rough, the one that's handbrake doesn't work. Yep, that's the right. The car I regret selling the most, definitely a VL Turbo. I had a manual VL Turbo when I was 18. It's a wagon. I do like VN Group A. I was lucky enough to drive one a couple of weeks ago. The showroom VN. Thank you very much, Mr. VN Kelly. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sam Crow. I appreciate that, mate. You don't have to do that, though. I'm happy to talk for free, but thank you very much. Mint condition, anything is cool, because the thing is, look, before I talk about that, the VS GDSR, I've never driven a GDSR. I've seen one real one in person, but it was before I did videos and stuff, so it was just at a car show. I have driven a GDS and a 6-speed VS Senator, which is kind of the same thing, and they go extremely hard. Good afternoon, Michael. How are you, mate? When am I going to Jollies next? Well, actually, I might go this week because my missus had a really good idea for a video. She said, go there with $50 and try and buy the best thing for a Commodore that you possibly can. And I reckon that was genius. So I think we're going to do that. VZ Ute. I had a VZ Ute for years, and it was fantastic. Old man bought a V in Group A. Very cool, mate. Hopefully he still has it. LS line is so damn hard. It certainly is. What's the next car? So the next car, we got the red Ute just there up on the hoist, or in the hoist bay. But I think the next car that we're probably going to do, I'm not sure exactly. I think it's going to be the Prem. It could be that one, or it's going to be my VS Ute, because we've got a manual swap for it. If not, not sure exactly. Probably the Tonner or that orange car, but I can really only do one or two at a time. I'm not, I'm still only. Awesome, man. You know what? When I was a P-plater, thanks, mate. When I was a P-plater, the S-Packs used to be everywhere, VX and VY. And now you really don't see them anymore. And VZ SV6s, like they're all gone. Yeah, the Tonner would be cool. I think the Tonner, there's a bit of value in that being a V8 manual car. And being a Tonner is pretty cool. I don't know if I've made a YouTube video on it.